Are you upset? Do you think MoveOn.org has too much power in the Democratic Party?
I've said that a number of times. I think they're out of control, actually. They seem to be a liberal firing squad, which is, that's formed by forming a circle and shooting each other.
All right. Is that the direction that the Democratic Party, that the center of the Democratic Party is moving in? Is the old...
No, what's happening is they're being pulled that way. They're being pulled that way because, partly because of the war, and partly because of MoveOn.org and people like that raise so much money. My problem with them is they have no consistent morality. They have taken positions long before this, and having nothing to do with George Bush or anything, inside the party that are really, I think... egocentric, very much sort of we want. And also their attitude of getting up and saying, we own the Democratic Party. We bought it, we paid for it.
Well, by Hillary Clinton not condemning it, by John Edwards having his wife do it, by all the other leading candidates not commenting, aren't they saying they do own the Democratic Party?
Edwards' wife at least said something. I mean, he never saw it apparently, but the problem is Hillary did, and she knew, she backed up. I thought even worse was, and I say this as a Democrat because this is how you go right over the deep end in losing elections. Nancy Pelosi's comment I thought was appalling. I wish they hadn't done it. She of all people, she's the highest-ranking Democrat in the country. She should have said something very firmly.
Oh, okay.
Because of the day of Petraeus hearings.
Well, these people, as you call them, the MoveOn.org people, are her attack dogs. You really can't expect her to disagree with them. She and Harry Reid and Dick Durbin will bring the Democrats back into the hard left from which they emerged in the McGovern years, right?
Well, in the worst of the McGovern years, at least the McGovern years were about, because I was part of that, by the way, was an effort to end a very terrible war going on. And they've been going on for a long, long time. It started with under Democrats as well as Republicans. And yes, it went too far. But this is too far. These people are basically rich people who decide my problem with them is they're not real Democrats. They don't care about economic issues. They don't care about people who are suffering. They don't care about protecting the poor, whether the basis of Democrats. They're in it for when it's good for them. They're people who live behind fences and give money and think they're really sophisticated. I know them well. They surround me in California.
Well, it's amazing. I had General Wesley Clark out here talking about, I just asked him, who's clearly a Democrat. For a while, he didn't know. But he wouldn't even, this is how I guess scared he is. He would not even condemn an organization that condemned the general's integrity.
I know. I saw him last night doing this on television. I was appalled. He was on with O'Reilly, and he wouldn't do it. He's a general. This is someone who served under him, by the way, being attacked. These people, MoveOn.org, are dragging the party. So far, they and a bunch of these bloggers are dragging the party so far to the left and over the cliff in the general election, which should be apparently a seemingly easy election. It's going to end up being a lot more difficult than anyone imagines. And I'll tell you what, I think that Giuliani and McCain have made hay this week attacking MoveOn.org. These people want to get in the fight. They don't know what a fight is. They're so used to demanding things and terrorizing people in the Democratic Party. I'm not alone in this. Bob Beckel feels the same way. I think some of these Democratic parties, you have to tell them to take a walk.
Yeah, but nobody will do it because they virtually blackmail Democrats by saying, if you don't toe our line, your fundraising pipeline will dry up. Is that true?
They don't own the fundraising pipeline. They own the couple of they own some of their own members.
Well, then why are the Democratic candidates for president afraid of them?
Because they want to win everyone. It's the same problem all politicians have. I start with the premise that if you want to run for office, I used to tell people, first of all, decide whose votes you don't want, and then run for office, because you'll be a lot better off. No, they want to win everyone's vote. They want to be happy with and also they don't want these people attacking them. By the way, this isn't the only group doing this. Let's get on with Club for Growth on the right and the Republican side. Going out and hammering If I were a Republican, I'd be beside myself. These people go out and run ads on TV, or worse, MoveOn.org. They're as outrageous as MoveOn.org, but I don't hear anyone on the Republican side attacking them.
If you are winning on the national poll, let's say like Rudy Giuliani is, but yet you're Mitt Romney and you're leading in Iowa, you'll probably win Iowa. You're leading in New Hampshire, probably going to win New Hampshire. And then the third is Michigan, and you have almost a double-digit lead in your home state. Is that too much momentum to stop if you're Rudy?
You know, what I don't get about Rudy, who, by the way, I think is the one Republican who may be almost impossible for Democrats to beat. Mitt Romney will take the Republican Party over the cliff. It'll be a Goldwater-like election if he's nominated. He is leading. He's going to get. They're letting him. There's talk of letting him win the early states. Well, why don't you just give him the nomination today?
Don't you think the Democratic nomination is Hillary's, that she has it wrapped up?
No, she does not have it wrapped up yet. We're not really engaged yet. And the fact of the matter is, so it's not over. And Hillary's got some real problems. You look at these polls. Yeah, right now on the surface, it looks like she's got it wrapped up. No one has challenged her. Conceptually, as long as everyone leaves her alone and nobody raises the questions that voters have, she's going to walk away with this. And this is where her opponents are being intimidated. They're being intimidated into being nice. Well, you be nice, and you might as well just give the nomination to her.
Before we let you go, who's your old boss, President Carter, going to endorse?
I don't know if he's going to endorse, but I know that, you know, he was recent with John Edwards. I might suspect that Hillary Clinton is not at the top of his list. Well, she's certainly not on my list. I know who she is, and you know, I think that, but I think he's.
Is there something you want to tell us about her, Pat?
Well, it would take another hour to do, because I think that her operation, too, is what I call basically, it's the mafia. It's basically a criminal. They're thugs. They run around intimidating people, threatening people. And let me tell you something. If the press ever gets into this stuff about their money again, the stuff with Mr. Hsu that just took place, you know, the guy who delivered 800...
Sure, Norman Hsu, the guy who took her whole staff to Las Vegas as a reward for accepting his money, for filling out a deposit slip.
This is only the beginning of the iceberg. But most of the press is not going to touch this story. Three groups have so far. You know, the Wall Street Journal, Fox, and the Washington Post have been on this story. Meanwhile, the rest of the press desperately does what Hillary's people tell them to do, which is leave it alone. The other candidates have an obligation to get into this. This is their problem. They've got to engage her. People are worried about her. You look at the polls and things people say, they don't consider her trustworthy, they don't consider her consistent, they think she's manipulative, you know, and she's the front runner. And she's losing every one of the things that except for experience. And and this is where the challenge, I think, has to come. What experience? There have been a lot of first ladies. Exactly what was your experience? What exactly did you do? Were you responsible, you know?
Exactly. Either she was the vice president, deserves all the credit, or she was the first lady and does nothing. But she wants it both ways.
Right, exactly. And that's why I'm saying you got to. And by the way, make her give up those million pages of documents that are sitting in the Clinton library.
Oh, don't hold your breath. But look, we have to go to a break. When we have you on the next time, though, we're going to ask you to explain why you called her campaign a bunch of thugs and a criminal operation. That we want to talk about. Pat Caddell, Democratic Strategist. Pat, thanks very much.
Okay, great.
No ranting, no raving, no name-calling. It's talk for civilized ears.
Yes! I am in the good!
On Fox News Talk.